Hi, I'm Leo from My Baba, and I'm sitting here with the founder and the headmistress of LNS's Bluebell Cottage Nursery, which is right in the middle of Kensington. It's absolutely gorgeous here. We've been doing a few little bits and pieces, but today what I'm really interested in is actually getting to the crux of when you go to nursery, how you go through it, where you go next, etc. It's a question that I've never really understood. Admissions.
Yeah. I think everyone will come to us not really knowing, because we're at preschool, which is so different to when you start your primary school. So we now take children from 1 year all the way through until 5 years. So yeah, they're very tiny.
Yeah.
And the reason we're doing that is because there's a lot of demand for that, especially for working mums who need that flexibility, and they have this environment where they can really they have such a nurturing curriculum. So Damiana oversees all of the schoolhouses, and everything's differentiated by their age and the different areas of learning. So they grow and they progress naturally. It's not rushed. It's a gradual progression throughout the whole curriculum.
Exactly. We adapt our lesson to the age and the development of each child, and we really aim to meet the individual needs of each child. Each child is unique. And
for 1-year-olds, what sort of things would you be doing? I know people laugh and joke and they say, oh, London Nursery is my child's finger painting and I'm spending this much. But what sort of things do you do with the 1-year-olds?
Yeah, absolutely.
With the 1-year-old, we of course start with a lot of sensory activities, but they learn through sensory activities. So it's not just a finger painting, but it's develop all their body and their emotion as well. And through sensory activities and a lot of role play to develop their social skills, they really thrive and they are get ready for the next class. First of all, we want for them to be comfortable, confident, happy, to develop the personal, social and emotional development, and then we can integrate, of course, literacy and math and communication and language.
So they're ready
they are ready.
for reception.
They're definitely ready.
Yeah. And when I remember my mother used to always say, you go to nursery in England on the September nearest your 3rd birthday. Is that still right?
Well, for us, we changed that, but that is very much the traditional admissions process. And I think what we've found is a lot of parents have been quite confused by our admissions process because it is different. And the curriculum we're offering is unique. And from that perspective, we're really trying to change the trend in preschool. And we're trying to encourage more parents to bring their children to us younger. And really, we offer the morning school, we offer full days, we offer after-school clubs and holiday clubs.
Your holiday clubs are huge, aren't they?
Yeah, and the holiday clubs are really, really popular because it gives you the flexibility. It's also open to our community, so we like to welcome families and friends, and it just opens up the learning in a different capacity. So I think you've got the traditional preschool education, which you could say, when they're 3, okay,
ready to
off they go, little school uniform which they have, and yes, they're little people by that age.
Yeah.
But it's still so wonderful when they're still at that baby stage and they've just learnt to walk and they're toddling around, but you see the difference within 3 months. It's remarkable.
Yeah.
And then you look at that child by the age of 2 and you think, gosh, you know, they're just beyond what you could have imagined so quickly. And I think it's because they're in a social capacity with other children of a similar age and their teachers and their friends, and they have that consistency.
And do they go out to play? Because you've got an amazing little
We do.
garden.
So behind us we have a lovely garden, so every day they have outdoor circle time. And they take their little cars to race around.
Lovely.
Which I think in London they need.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a huge thing. And for you, I know that food is a big thing as well. You've got a lovely kitchen here.
Yes.
And do most of the children eat here?
Everyone has lunch in school. So we have morning snack, afternoon teas.
Morning snack, lunch, afternoon teas, everything is made in house, is organic wherever possible and made from scratch.
Fantastic.
Low salt, low sugar. We really believe in healthy habits since a very young age.
Yeah. I mean, we have some fussy foodies who they won't touch anything. So we have a superfood of the week and a little superhero vegetable, which might be a broccoli or an avocado.
Trying to get them to eat.
You know, we say things, oh, we'll give you superpowers, and it works. And then the parent will say to me, I don't believe you, there's no way they've eaten that.
Spinach,
exactly. And they go home and they just refuse it, and they want their beige diet. But it's gradual, and I think using a knife and fork, sitting around a table, and it's something quite nostalgic about that. You know, I still sort of remember that feeling from being at preschool where you had lunch and you made cakes in cookery class, and those little experiences
that we're losing.
And we're trying to just really keep it simple.
Fantastic.
But with the small classes, I think it really works.
It's important. And then last question, not just about admissions, but actually when they come to leave you, what happens then? Yeah,
so we work, Damiana's worked in a lot more schools than I have, but we work with a lot of the local schools, so Thomas's, Glendower, whichever one you will, and we would help for children who are maybe going through an assessment, or it's a non-assessment based school, making sure they're on the list, and looking at what's the best school for the child.
Yes, because you spend so much more time with them in that sort of environment.
And you see the character of every child evolving, that you might say that little boy is not best to go to that school, he would be much better going to this school because he's into sports or he's into music, and he's really academic, where that's not going to give them the balance.
Sure. So
we try and work with families very much on that, and
hope they listen.
It's personal choice.
And then lastly, any questions that you hear time and time again that parents come through your door and ask that you think would be helpful for our listeners?
I mean, for me, I think a lot of people will say, why do we have to do the 5 days a week? Why can't we just do 1 or 2 mornings? And I understand that, you know, these are the early years and you want to really spend that time. But for us, we are running Bluebell Cottage as a school, even from that age of 1. And we plan across those 5 mornings, so they really get the most out of the consistency, which I think, you know, we would love to be able to give more flexibility, but it's just not really in line with our ethos.
One other question, sorry, I keep forgetting. Something that I used to always think when my 2 eldest were at nursery is all of the constant after-school clubs and the play dates and things. These are tiny little bodies when they've done a whole day at nursery or even half day. They're exhausted. What are your thoughts on that? I
mean, we encourage the children to sleep in school. So the children can have up to a 2 hours sleep every day in school, which they do sleep, and they do need it because they're exhausted by lunchtime.
I bet.
But also, I think the after-school clubs give them that diversity, and I think it prepares them for their next step school, even at a very young age.
Which are longer hours. And
longer hours. It just gives them that resilience that I think we're seeing a lot more, and they love it. We want them moving around the building, not just in one room. So we have things like ballet, martial arts, and then Mandarin, which they love.
Wow.
And we make it fun.
It's changed so much from when I was at school. It's incredible. Fantastic. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll see you again soon.